Great evening, Grace America. I'm Hugh Hewitt, joined by Senator Eric Schmitt of the great state of Missouri. Senator, welcome back. I've been plugging your book, The Last Line of Defense, and my appearances on Fox, because all of a sudden your chapter on your case against what became Murthy, but it wasn't the original one you filed. It came to pass that they have to pay up, and I was glad and I was celebrating for you. I hope that everyone noticed that you were there first.
I did see that. And actually the interview that we got a chance to do, I appreciate it because you had read the book. It was very substantive, and there's a lot to tell, obviously, in the book, but especially about that censorship regime we uncovered. And it really was Orwellian. It really was. Well,
speaking of Orwellian, we're going to get there, but I noticed that you've got a Chiefs helmet behind you. They choked last night. The Browns have the Jaguars' first-round draft pick, and I did not appreciate that. Why would the Chiefs choke against the Jaguars? I don't know.
I don't know. It's probably too soon. But by the way,
let's get to the outrage of the day.
Yes,
they're in the SEC, aren't they? Yeah.
Yes, and they're playing Alabama at home. Your 14th-ranked Tigers are playing the number 8-ranked Crimson Tide in Columbia, Missouri. So upset alert.
Well, when you get up to
alert.
Single digits, then you get to play the Big Ten. When you get to single digits, and when you get to
you got like one team.
And when you get
what are you talking about? You got like one team.
Yeah, we probably do only have one team, but it's we got two. Oregon's pretty good. Senator, I want to turn very, very, very serious. An American Javert, really an American Beria, anointed himself the surveiller of the Senate. And I was going to talk to you about the shutdown, but these records of the FBI surveilling senators have got my con law professor head spinning around. It's never happened in our 250 years. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, this makes Watergate. This is like Watergate's 1/1000th, I think, of this scandal. And if you had an honest legacy media, they would cover this. Watergate took down a president, and here you had, and what I tried to do in the hearing today with Pam Bondi is this stuff's been uncovered. So yes, Jack Smith subpoenaed the phone records, tapped the phones of 8 U.S. senators. By the way, also did that with the Republican Attorneys General Association. I was the chairman at the time. Ashley Moody was on the executive board, so pull in 2 more U.S. senators that were involved in this effort. It really was this, it began with Russiagate. That was a hoax. They tried to sideline the presidency. Then you got the FBI then working on pre-bunking the Hunter Biden laptop story. We took Elvis Chan's deposition in the book Last Line of Defense, by the way. You had that. And then once Biden comes in, 3 days later, they start this censorship regime, and they start spying on U.S. senators, and they start, subpoenaing the records of organizations like Turning Point with Charlie Kirk. We've never seen anything like this whole thing. This is like Soviet-style justice in the United States of America. So what do I think should happen? I mentioned in the hearing today, I think personally, the statute of limitations runs on some of this stuff, but not on a conspiracy. So if you're part of the conspiracy in mile marker 1, even though you take an exit ramp on mile marker 5, you are still liable for that conspiracy at mile marker 10, and we're at mile marker 10. And so I would expect to see more charges, probably in line with a vast conspiracy, conspiracy against rights, conspiracy against the United States, that would involve certainly Comer, Clapper, Brennan, a lot of folks. And Jack Smith, at a minimum, ought to be disbarred, but there ought to be prosecutions here. I actually think what we should do is really spend the time, have a joint committee, the Senate, the House, or maybe like a after Watergate kind of hearing where we really get into what they did, because the Democrats, Hugh, are claiming that Trump's weaponizing the DOJ, and I tried to make the point today. Biden's DOJ was weaponized not just against Trump, but his supporters, Catholics, you name it. They went after their political enemies. Going after and making those people accountable is not the same thing. That is not a weaponization. That is going after the people who weaponized, and that's where we're at right now, and I hope that's what comes next.
Well, my suggestion, I'll write it up in a Fox column for Thursday, is that Leader Thune announce a select committee like the Watergate Select Committee, that it be a real select committee, and we put onto it people like you and Senator Hawley, former Attorney General, people like Ted Cruz and Tom Cotton and Mike Lee, great lawyers. You hire a great lead counsel. You let the Democrats pick their 3 or 4, whoever they want. I don't care. We don't do a J6 show committee. We actually have a committee, and we do Watergate Committee 2.0, and you bring them all up and you immunize who you have to. but we get going and we go fast. I love the Judiciary Committee. You guys do great work, but some members are not lawyers, and some of them, I've never been a prosecutor. I don't know how to prosecute anything. You do. I would like to see prosecutorial focus brought to bear on Mr. Schmitt, his staff, and I don't know what Chris Wray was doing. Was he asleep? But what was Merrick Garland doing? This is truly without precedent in the history of the Republic, I think. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do, and I like your idea. I would also say too that it really, we can't allow this to happen. The Democrats never forgave Trump for coming down the escalator, and they have never come to grips with the lengths at which they went to break the law and break all these constitutional norms to get Trump. I mean, you got to remember also that after they thought Trump was gone and they were going after his allies, 3 days after he announced he was running for president, and Jack Smith gets appointed special counsel, you've got the number 3 person at DOJ go to Alvin Bragg's office, you've got the assistant district attorney in Atlanta meeting with the White House counsel's office. All these cases were meant to put him in prison for the rest of his life and bankrupt his family. I mean, they were hell-bent on it. And by the way, if Biden or Harris would have won, we wouldn't know any of this stuff, Hugh. All this stuff would still be buried in burn bags in the FBI headquarters, right? And so now the disruptors are in, they're exposing it. But you're right, we need to do more with it.
Well, I want people who are serious about getting to the answers as to, because there's a chain of custody of the unconstitutionality. Somebody comes up with the idea of wiretapping, or I'm not sure they wiretapped you, but did they surveil you? Is that what it was?
Well, what we know right now, what we know right now, based on a briefing yesterday, is that they had sort of call logs, knowing who people called, who was calling them, and the location. But it could be, because this has just been uncovered, it could be a lot more than that. It could be electronic communications. It could be potentially the contents of the call. We'll find out. There's also a question here with the carriers, the phone companies that actually agreed to turn over these documents. I mean, it's totally insane and unprecedented, as you said. So I think there's a lot more questions based on the recent revelations from Arctic Frost that deserve answers. And like I said, ultimately accountability.
Is there anything that connects the 8 senators who are named, plus you and Attorney General Bondi, not Bondi, but Ashley Moody, is there anything that connects you 10 together? I mean, why would they pick
Well, this
you
was
10?
done under the auspices, this was done under the auspices of January 6th, as everything was, right? They had felt like they had license to go break the law and do this massive roundup. I mean, that's what they're saying. And so, it really was in many ways a predicate for them to do things that are unprecedented in this country. Like I said,
do we even know, Senator? Do we even know how many people work for Jack Smith? Do we know how many lawyers he put on his payroll?
I don't know the exact number, but I think I saw a $50 million price tag.
That's the price tag.
$50 million was spent on this. It's crazy.
So, if I'm king of the world, not queen, not duke, not earl, I begin with the junior member on his staff and begin working my way up as to finding out where, and then over to the Bureau. And Patel and Bongino will give you help, won't they?
Yeah, and by the way, this most recent revelation for Arctic Frost came from a whistleblower, came from somebody on the inside. So there are people in the FBI, I'm sure, that were very uncomfortable with what was happening, and you want to make sure that they have the ability to come forward and get their statements and then follow up on that. That's how an investigation would work. And I think we ought to do all that. We can't let this go by, Hugh. This isn't some small thing. I mean, it's hard to think of a bigger thing.
It's huge.
Yeah.
You're too young to remember, but in the summer of 1973, I'm in summer school in Warren, Ohio, and because we had a coach as a teacher, he just rolled the TV in and we watched the Watergate hearing. The world learned everything, right? That's the way you do it, is you put them. But it's got to be our smart people. It's got to be our best lawyers, not people who are looking to run for anything, but our best lawyers. So I hope you go to the conference. When does the conference get together next?
Well, we're together every lunch. So, but yeah, there's some conversations about this. I will say that the very smart lawyer Hugh Hewitt made the suggestion, and he's right. So,
well, I'm not a prosecutor, but I did stay at Holiday Inn recently, so I'm hoping that we find the bottom of it. To the benefit of the audience, the last line of defense becomes more and more relevant every day. It's Eric Schmidt's brand new book, you want to read up on how the censorship enterprise, as he called it, I love that term, got started and got underway. Well done today, Senator, and thank you for joining me. Don't go anywhere, America. I'm coming back with Aviv Redig-Gur, Part 3 on this, the second anniversary of the massacre of 10/7. Aviv joined me a couple hours ago from Israel to review a lot of things, including the explosion of anti-Semitism in the United States. Stay tuned.